Noma has changed the face of the food and restaurants and has been named the world's best restaurants 4 times. Very big applause for René Redzepi.
I just come from Mexico. I feel a bit underdressed here. I will speak about an initiative, but just to give you a little bit of background. So besides having Restaurant Noma, we also have something that we call MAD. MAD means food in Danish, which we started in 2010. It was an idea that started in 2009. 2010 we started it. And it started out as a symposium. Besides that, we'd spurred a lot of different projects. And I will explain to you one of them now, which is to talk about a value system for food, or let's call it the broken value system for food. When talking about that, interestingly enough, last week, there was a story, I believe it was in the New York Times, that a big chunk of American children believe that cacao milk comes from brown cows. Then there's something wrong. Or you post a picture on Instagram, a beautiful steak, it gets 20,000 likes. Post a picture of the dead cow, you get 200 death threats. So let me explain a bit. So 14 years ago, we opened a restaurant in a very cold and bleak area of Europe. We opened Noma. We realized that historically, the traditions and eating habits in our part of the world were not as rich, to say the least, as places like France, Italy, Japan. Scandinavian fare was basic, and in many ways still is basic, built for vitality, not conviviality. Some people, they trace this back to the fact that we are Protestants, in which the enjoyment of food is sinful, like masturbation used to be. Many things have changed. And of course, also to a long, harsh climate characterized by the long, dark winters. This was the core of what we set out to explore. We imagined that we were cooking with the traditional winter staples like cabbages, lots and lots of cabbages, farty restaurants, full of onions and leeks. But at one point we realized, of course, we need to look beyond the root vegetables to fill our menu. So we started to investigate. We looked into our wild landscape, the uncultivated landscape, thinking about new traditions, new flavors, new stories that could evolve. That was the starting point. You have to imagine a very vast, sweeping landscape. We're 25 million people, spanning 7 countries. This means that a huge area of our landmass is literally as nature intended it to be. Exploring nature in this region was a discovery for us. This story has been told 1 million times, the foraging restaurant. Have you foraged with René Redzepi? Eater once wrote. And true, it was simply the thing that everybody talked about. Of course, we have done nothing new. We've just rediscovered something. We rediscovered flavors in a landscape that we thought were impossible in our corner of Europe. This was the revelation. It fueled our creativity, and it also drove us to become the ones we are, the reason why I am here today. We have so many examples of these great surprises. One time on a shitty beach, walking in seaweed, flies everywhere, you break off a piece of grass, it snaps like a watermelon, you chew into it, and it tastes like cilantro or coriander. For me, that was one of these Mexican or Thai things. Or the first time you actually eat a tiny little 6-legged ant and you bite into it and it tastes like lemon. All of this exploration, actually, surprisingly enough, took us in a different way. It actually gave us a new sense of urgency and responsibility to our nature, to which we today owe everything. This connection to our place, I had never had that before, being the son of a Macedonian Muslim immigrant to Denmark. But suddenly I was connected. And it started to give us a new vision for how we wanted to treat the earth, an ethic of care that infuses every aspect of life. And that's what I want to talk about today. Because with the knowledge that we've gained since Noma's beginning, we spent the last almost 4 years at MAD working on a program that we call Vildmad, or wild food. The basic premises is very simple. It started as a crazy idea. we should teach every child to be a forager. Everyone should be a forager. Because knowing your ABCs in nature, the flora, the fauna, the patterns of the landscape, and the rhythms of the seasons is as important, we believe, as learning math, learning to read, learning to write, especially today when people think cacao milk comes from brown cows. So in collaboration with more than 100 people, chefs, foragers, teachers, scientists, academics, designers, we created a program starting for Denmark, but already now it can be used in most of Scandinavia. It has 3 parts. First, it's a tool for reading the landscape and decoding all of its culinary potential. We develop an app in English, and it's also in Danish, you should download it, that gets you outdoors and guides you through the various landscapes and seasons. From forests in spring to cities in summer, until now, knowledge of wild plants has mostly been grounded in science and medicine. Bringing together knowledge of foragers and chefs, the app invites everyone to touch, to smell, to taste, to pick, to cook, and to share this. Secondly, this was the biggest part of the project. We developed a curriculum for school children in Denmark. What if our kids, we imagined ourselves, were able to stroll through a park and they could pick things like they go and pick cornflakes and candies in the supermarket? We actually believe that if we focus on our children, and if they're raised understanding this, understanding what's growing around them, where things come from, how to find what's edible, how to cook with it, that they will also develop a connection to nature and an ethic of care for the wild, urban, and rural lands, no matter how near or far away those lands are. If our kids are enriched by nature, if they see how much we actually depend on it, and if they grow up loving it, we believe they will fight for it. Thirdly, at last, it is also guided foraging workshops led by Danish nature rangers. This was also a very big task, to train 50 rangers from corner to corner of Denmark. The rangers will offer workshops open to anyone who signs up, teaching you how to identify what's edible, what will kill you, what will give you diarrhea, what will choke you. They will teach you how to harvest, how to cook what you find as well. They will actually be giving cooking lessons. And how, most importantly, also to take care of it while foraging. How do you do this? Year 1, we will be teaching almost 10,000 people. We believe that one of the biggest problems with the food systems around the world is the lack of the values. Values that overlook the lands and the hands that provide what we eat. There are no recipes for building a new value system or value systems. But we think one of the building blocks is starting with children, starting with ourselves to connect ourselves to where our food is from. There's a big missing link here. How it gets to our plates. You talk about waste. Why do you waste things? You waste things you don't value. This won't surprise anyone in this room, of course, but changing the value system for food by teaching principled practices from childhood age is one of the ways to plant the seed of a revolution, we believe. So we're actually launching in Denmark Vild Mad today. And it is amazing to distill this thing, 14 years of knowledge and energy, into something that everyone can make their own. There's a public festival in August. Everyone come and join. There will be foraging trips. Download the app beforehand and go and explore the landscape. And if any of you want this at your place, come to us, because we'll make it for you. It's ready. 3 years of work is spent. It's just putting in new ingredients and adapting fresh recipes. Mad's ambition, of course, is that Vild Mad will serve as a model in Denmark, but we hope that it inspires for others, for you guys to do the same. And just imagine, I know it's a crazy thought, but it's not that crazy still to imagine. What if all of our children grew up having math, learning to read and write, but also stepping into nature as a part of natural sciences, eating, tasting, smelling? How would the future look like then? Thank you very much.